I have a really special guest for you, and we're going to be talking about how to build massive visibility on the web with for entrepreneurs and with the tools that you have online. And my guest today is Kathleen Gage, who's been a wonderful friend of mine for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. And she just published a book called Power Up for Profits. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the book too, because in that book she really talks about that whole visibility piece. And this is going to be, a conversation between me and Kathleen, and we're going to be revealing to you and telling you about what we've been doing in our businesses to build our visibility, which leads to success. I mean, the more visibility you have, the more success you have, and you're going to find that out. But Kathleen is one of these people who totally walks her talk. She doesn't teach about things that she's never done. She will not do any training, do any teaching, write any blog posts, write a book or anything until she has thoroughly tested and achieved success with a process, system, tool, strategy. So please welcome Kathleen Gage, my friend, the Street Smarts marketer and the author, best-selling author of Power Up for Profits, of among other very other books that you've written. So Kathleen, why don't you give a little bit of background while I'll stop stumbling around here.
Okay, well, Denise, it's great to be here, and I have to say you are one of my dearest friends, and I just appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation and kind of pull back the cover on some of the things we were actually talking about before we got started, how things are changing. And really what my book is about is how to position yourself as an expert and gain the visibility, because unfortunately a lot of people have bought into this whole thing of get rich quick on the internet, and running a business on the internet is running a business, period. There's no way around it, and if people buy into all the other stuff, I really feel bad for them, because they're going to be sadly disappointed on what the reality is, which is you run a business like a business. But I've had my business 19 years now. I started out as a corporate trainer, and started in 1994, July of 1994, so 19 years almost to the day. And I left a corporate job, went into corporate training because it was a natural progression, and I was actually an early adopter of the internet. I don't think quite as early as you were, but I discovered the internet and really had an affinity to it. I loved it. And early on, I just played around with it a little bit, but then I discovered that you could really make some great money online. The very first money I made online was probably about $25, and I remember taking my dogs on a walk, came back from my walk, and there was $25 a sale, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was over the moon excited, because I figured if I could make 25, I could make 250. If I could make 250, I could make 2,500, and on and on. And it's true. But what I discovered was I bought into the belief early on that it was about get rich quick. And I discovered I had to be very strategic about what I was doing. So over the last probably 15 years, I have studied extensively different ways to build a business using the internet. And my new book, Power Up for Profits, is not about becoming an internet marketing guru. It's about using what's available by way of the internet and some offline methods to really build your visibility and your business. I went 100% into the internet about 7 years ago when we moved from Utah to Oregon. And in Utah, I was doing a lot of brick and mortar business, and I made in the shade, really. I was doing quite well there. Came here to Oregon, tried to replicate the model of the offline business in Oregon, and couldn't get any business to save my life. At that time, I was about 40% internet, and I quickly realized that if I wanted to pay my mortgage, I had to figure it out, so I went 100% into the internet, and it saved my life in a number of ways. My mom got sick a few years ago. I was her caretaker, and because I was able to run my business by way of a computer and an internet connection, I was able to be there for my mom during the 2 years before she passed away. So, in a nutshell, that's my story, and I'm sticking to
it. Well, you've got a really inspirational story, and I know that a lot of people have been inspired by you. So, let's start with the baseline here. What inspired you to write the book? that you just
Okay.
published?
Well, I had been thinking about it for quite some time because I see people who really want great information and they want it easily accessible. And what I found out was nobody had ever written a book just for women on online marketing. Now, there's a lot of products out there, but nobody wrote a book specifically for women. And the subtitle is The Smart Woman's Guide to Online Marketing. There were two reasons for that. One is my market is primarily women. I do have some men in my market, but primarily women. And the second reason is it was a very strategic marketing move to give me a good hook to get media coverage, to get blog posting opportunities, guest blogging opportunities. And so the reason I wrote it right now was after going through the experience I went through with my mother, it was a really tough time. It was a tough 2 years to watch my mom get sicker and sicker and then eventually pass away. I realized that I did have a freedom that many people didn't have, which was knowing how to generate revenue in my pajamas, by my mom's hospital bedside, by her bedside at home, and it just gave me a freedom that I wanted to be able to share with other people. So what really motivated me is that a great many of my clients and customers are baby boomers, and a lot of boomers are going through or have been what I've been through. And I would never want somebody to not have the freedom to make a decision to be there for somebody they love or to take time off. In about 6 weeks, we're going to Hawaii for 10 days. It's our second trip this year, and you have that kind of freedom too, which is really cool.
I agree. That is very cool. And, I've been starting to travel more myself because I realized that I had been missing that. And I think that that is something that an online business really can afford you, is for you to be able to make the decisions to do the things you want.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, an online business is work. It's a business. So it's not like we're all, taking vacations all the time. And frankly, when I went to Peru, I had my smartphone with me, and, I could check my emails and be in connection with my VA, and, work business still was happening. So
right.
that is a powerful change now, too.
Well, I have a good friend that she just went to a summer home in, I think, Cape Cod, and she's spending a month there, and she's able to run her business at that summer home, take some time off, but and she's got a 7-figure business, so she's already hit 7 figures for the year, and it's all because of the internet. Now, I'm not going to make a promise as to how much somebody can make, because it really depends on how much effort they put into what they're doing and how strategic they are. I had a situation yesterday where a woman wanted to learn how to market online. She got some really good information on how to do it, and she goes, this is just way too much work. And it's like, well, how do you expect to build a business? And so it's really being a realist, if you will, in what you're doing in your business, and yet it does give you the freedom that a RJ, a real job, doesn't give you. You like that one, huh?
I like that. RJ. I usually say JOB because I don't want to say the word job. Okay, let's get to visibility. And one of the things that you that's in your materials and stuff is that we're going to talk about, and what I promised to the people who are attending, is that we're going to talk about how to quickly, efficiently, and cost-effectively establish a strong presence using online means.
Okay.
So let's look at that. Where do you usually advise someone to start?
Oh, great question. Great question.
Yeah.
The starting place is, who is your market? Because if you don't identify clearly who your market is, you can spin your wheels and you can put effort into gaining visibility, but it might be in the wrong locations. So what you want to do is you want to clearly identify who your market is. Then you want to find out what blogs do they read, what radio programs do they listen to, what trade journals do they read, what social networks do they hang out in. And that's where you would focus your efforts. For example, with my book launch, what we did is we strategically looked for media outlets that we could send information about the upcoming book release. At that time, it was the upcoming book release. Now it is the book release. And we sent them information about the book and said, here's what's going to appeal to your readership, your listeners, or your viewers. So you want to look at who is the end user, so that when you're approaching the media, for example, you can say, this is why it would be a good idea to have me on your program, because for your readers, they will get X, Y, and Z. So you have to start from that place. With guest blogging, just today, John Kramer, who wrote 1001 Ways to Market Your Books, he published a blog posting for me. We strategically found dozens upon dozens of blog opportunities where I would write blog postings. And see, this is where the work comes in. I had to write the content, but these people have a market reach that I might not have. I get exposure to their market. It's a third-party endorsement, which gives you more credibility. When somebody like you, Denise, or somebody like John Kramer, or somebody like let's say Tom Antion, allows you to write a blog posting for their market, it means they believe in what you're doing, and their readers will say, oh my gosh, this must be somebody I need to pay attention to. So that would be another avenue, would be guest blogging. Then there's social media. With social media, you would look at, like, are they in Facebook? Are they in LinkedIn? Are they in Twitter? Or are they in specialized locations? And for example, I was working with, it was a dentist who we found that there was a dental forum that had hundreds of thousands of dentists who hung out in this forum, and if Dr. Capista was targeting other dentists, that's where he would hang out, not Facebook. Now, if he was targeting patients, he would hang out in Facebook and do very targeted marketing in Facebook. So those are just a few examples.
Well, I'm glad that you made that distinction, because I've been having this conversation with a lot of clients as well, that there's the big 5 or 6, maybe you can say now, social networks, but you need to be very clear about whether, first of all, the purpose for being on those networks, and it might be personal reasons, it might be business reasons, and it might be a combination of both. But right. You need to know if that's where the demographic of the audience you want to reach actually is. So, a dog trainer, for example, may not be on LinkedIn, but they might be on a dog social network.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that probably exists somewhere.
I'll give you a great example. Actually, it does. We had a boxer dog. Our boxer went to doggy heaven about a year ago, but when we had a boxer dog, I belonged to several boxer forums, and so I was able to network with other boxer dog owners. About 8 months ago, we adopted a pit bull, and it's interesting because I have a story in my book about Tia Torres, who actually started Pit Bull and Parolee's TV show, and she really changed the way that people view what's going on with pit bulls. And as a result of that, we adopted a pit bull, and what's really amazing is there are dozens upon dozens of pit bull forums where I can network with other pit bull owners, and we can raise funds for pit bulls who have been abused. There was one recently that there's a lot of postings going on Facebook, and people who love animals were donating money to have the care for this dog. This dog was terribly abused, and we're doing what we can to educate the public about this.
Okay, here's another aspect to building an online business and making sure that you're getting in front of the right people. What is your opinion, or what are your thoughts or feelings around the idea that there's that there's a right way to do online marketing, for example? So, a lot of people feel that they've got to follow the big boys, let's say. And maybe this is why you decided to target your book at women, because I think that...
That's why I wrote the book for women, yes.
The thing is, you and I have both been working online for a long time. I've been online since '96. You've been online since almost that amount of time. And, there was a way that you did business online. And what I'm seeing is a shift in how people are approaching their business and their marketing online. And I'd like to know if you're seeing that shift and how that's impacting the way you're doing business and the way that you are going about building visibility for yourself and your clients.
Yes, I definitely am seeing a shift, and we had a short conversation before we started today with this hangout. Things have changed and they continue to change. For example, the way that we're marketing this book, Power Up for Profits, is very different than what I've done in previous campaigns. In previous campaigns, you'd go out, and this was a model that a man created, and there were a lot of women who followed that model, and it did work because it was a novelty at one point and people were not on information overload. But initially what we did is we would get a whole bunch of partners, they would all give a bonus gift, they would all mail out on one day, and you'd go for the big hurrah. It's like, okay, one big bang and you're done. And it worked because you could get bestseller status on Amazon, but then there was that decline where nothing came after. And that traditionally has been the way a lot of men have taught to market. It's like, go in for the big bang, where women tend to be more about relationship building. And I think I see a lot of men doing that today too. It's like they're shifting the way that they're marketing. Now, the thing that you want to look at is, who is your market? Again, it really depends on who your market is as to how you're going to market and what is your perspective, what is your point of view, what is your stand, if you will. Because not everybody markets the same way, not everybody wants to be marketed to the same way. And there's so many people out there that all we need is a little tiny slice of the pie. That's all. And a great book to read is Seth Godin's book, Tribes. If you've not read that, I encourage everybody who's watching this and who will be watching this to get that book. It's called Tribes, Seth Godin. Wonderful book on how you really establish community. And again, it's really about long-term relationships rather than the short-term, go in for the quick bang and then you're done. I think that consciousness has been raised by a lot of people. There's so much that we can do now because of social media. And again, as I mentioned, you know, when there's an abused dog, people come to that dog's rescue. When there's an event going on, people start promoting for each other. And it's really about, do people know, like, and trust you? And the more they know, like, and trust you, the more they're going to help you to get your message out, and you're going to help them to get their message out. So yes, things have drastically changed, and no one person has all the answers, and if they say they do, I would turn and run quickly the other way, because there's so many different personalities out there, there's so many different desires of what people want to do, but the thing that I teach people is be willing to stand in your truth, be willing to pull back the covers and say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the market, and be willing to fail big, because when you're willing to fail big, you can succeed big. And also be willing not to be liked, because not everybody is going to like you. Just yesterday I had a situation where I got a message from a woman who absolutely did not like what I was doing. She said, I can't believe you're doing this, this is awful. Then I opened up the next email and the person said, oh, Kathleen, I love what you're doing, this is great. So the one who said she didn't like me, she's not really my market. That's okay. She can find people who are a good match for her. So the thing that I really work with my clients on, and I have it in the book quite a bit, it's not a popularity contest. It's about really aligning with those people that you can serve and they can serve you.
Well, I agree, and the impetus for this show, if you will, this is kind of a Adventures in Visibility is a once in a while live streaming show here on Google+. But the impetus for it was that I realized that I wanted to, you know, have a deeper connection with the people that are following me, or, you know, that are in my community, let's say. And I realized that there was often like a barrier, because, you know, I was just doing blog posts, or I was you know, just status updates, that sort of thing. So I was pumping out a lot of content, sharing a lot of content, which people loved, but there was no real way to, you know, really see, who are you, Denise? What are you doing? And I realized that I needed to, you know, really tap into really who I am all the time versus just a persona that I am on the web, and that's why I decided to do these live streaming videos.
Right.
And sometimes it's just me, and sometimes I bring on a guest like you who's an expert. And this way I can have a closer relationship, if you will, to the people that I'm connected with. And
absolutely.
That I think is a really important thing, and that really also feeds into the whole visibility, issue as well. Is that when you are sharing your truth, as you say, stand in your truth, when you are sharing that and there isn't really a barrier between you and your message and the people receiving your message, it makes a huge difference. And I saw a big shift once I started, letting go of the professional.
Right.
Not that I'm unprofessional, but I let go of the persona of being the professional.
Well, it's interesting because actually when I decided to let go of the business suits, I had some people that are still in corporate. They're going, you can't do that. It's like, yes, I can. When I present in blue jeans, a leather jacket, and my Western boots, either black spike boots or Western boots, because I like them both. And I attract a market that's okay with that. And it's really interesting because I kept wearing the business suits even when I outgrew that persona. And there were people who would say, you know what, you need to get out of the suits. Even though they look good, it's like, get out of the suits. And I'm convinced that we should have a hangout where we're all wearing our pajamas because we make money in our pajamas. It's like, and the first evolution of really letting people see who we are was when video came along. And video really was a game changer for a lot of people, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. And I can remember when I started using video extensively, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I was putting out a lot of video. And when I would show up to an event, people would say, I feel like I know you. And it was because they saw my face, they saw my personality. And now Google Hangouts and live streaming, a real game changer all the way across the board. And I do encourage people that I know that you might have a fear of being in front of a camera. I mean, look at us. We've probably messed up a few times since, not you, Denise, but I know I have messed up a few times since we've been doing this. But it's about being yourself and really just having fun at what you're doing. See, the thing I believe in business is we should have fun, but we should be serious about what we're taking to market. Be serious about running your business, but have fun. And I also think it's important, and this is also in my book, is you have to build a community of people that when you're going through tough times, you can reach out to these people. When you're going through good times, you can reach out to these people. Because I think sometimes we assume that we have to be perfect all the time or we have to be on all the time. And we are real people with real lives who go through real situations. But the beauty of the internet is you can reach out to people all over the world and create this network that the world becomes a very small place.
I'm glad that you said that, yes, is that you need to be able to create that community that is going to be there when things are good and when things are rocky. So that's really important. We're getting towards the end of our time, but I wanted to bring up an issue around visibility that I hear occasionally from people, that to build a visible presence on the web, that it only works if you're in an industry like online marketing, like you and I are, that it doesn't work for other industries. How would you respond to that?
I love that you asked that. Here's the thing. Those of us that are in the industry of online marketing, we're visible because that's what we do. But there are plenty of industries and plenty of people who are celebrities, if you will, within their industry that we never hear about because it's not our industry. So if you know nothing about manufacturing and that's not your industry, you don't know what's going on in the manufacturing industry and how they're using the internet to build that visibility. So virtually any industry can benefit from learning the strategies of how you gain visibility online. This is the thing that is such a misconception by many people. They say, well, it's easy for you to make money because you're in the business of teaching people how to make money. There are people who are making fortunes that have nothing to do with online marketing. They're not teaching it, but they're teaching things and they're providing resources for very specific industries. The next business that I'm going to open is probably going to have to do with pit bull dogs. I was doing some research. I am amazed at how many people have pit bulls and how many forums there are, and we're fanatics. I mean, my pit bull has more clothes than I do. Every time we go to the pet store, he gets a new outfit. It's like, don't you think he has enough? Oh no, this little shirt would look great. And he wears hats and all that. I mean, he's like my little baby. But the reality is we spend a fortune on our animals. Yeah, you love that one. But think about, for the people that have pets, think about, if you're really an advocate for pets, how much you invest in your animals. The latest and greatest bed comes out, you buy that new bed. The latest and greatest toy comes out, you buy that new toy. So there are people in many industries making great money and really positioning their business and gaining visibility that have nothing to do with online marketing. So that is not true that only online marketers are using these strategies.
Well, thank you for that. I totally agree.
You can see I'm a little bit passionate about it.
Yeah, yes. Well, and what I'd like to also offer is that when you see somebody who is visible in an industry, so for example, the people who are in our communities that aren't online marketers, you know, whether you're an author, you're a dog trainer, you're, you know, a dentist, whatever your a nutritionist, any business, because we all know people in many businesses. Whatever your business is, you can build that presence on the web for your audience. And when you see somebody who is, you know, whether it's in your industry or not, when you see somebody who is very successfully doing that, so you see Kathleen and how visible she is, and that you see her on LinkedIn, and you see her on Twitter, and you see her on Facebook, and you see her on Google Plus, and on the Pitbull, you know, forums, you know, look at what she's doing. Model that. Take some notes. I mean, the reason I'm where I am is because I studied what people who were ahead of me in the game, what they were doing, and I said, okay, how does that apply to my business? Not that I'm going to do exactly what they're doing, because if my audience is different, that might not work. So it's about finding the strategies and tactics that work for your business.
Absolutely.
Not for my business and not for Kathleen's business, but you can see what we're doing and say, how does that apply? Can I use that tactic and create a similar result in my business? And I think that is a leap that many people forget to take. Just say, well, that person's really visible, and you know, it's because they're in marketing. But no, look at what I'm doing. Look at what Kathleen's doing. Look at what Mari Smith is doing. Look at what, you know, the people who you see all over the place, what are they doing, and how can you apply that to your business?
You know, I belong to a mastermind where we have one woman who teaches single women how to find their ideal mate. And she has a multiple six-figure business because she's using the very strategies we're talking about. So you're so correct. Model those who are succeeding, find out what they're doing, and then apply it to your particular situation.
Exactly. Well, we're just about at the end of our 30 minutes here, and I do want to remind everybody that Kathleen did just publish this book. I'm too close to the camera. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna. There it
is.
There we go.
Power Up for Profits: The Smart Woman's Guide to Online Marketing. And I will say that if you're a man, this will work for you too. I don't want to exclude you because these principles will work for you as well. You can go get it today. Well, Kathleen, why don't I let you tell people what is happening with your launch, because I know today is the end of the official launch. Of course, the book will continue to be available, but today is the last day to get some special bonuses. So
absolutely. Actually, we're running those specials through the weekend. So, but I want people to get it today because you'll be able to start using these great gifts right away. They're only from me. I didn't bring in a bunch of bonuses from other people, but you get a report on how to make your first $100 online. This is a report where it takes you step by step what you need to do to break that ceiling for yourself. Once you make your first 100, you know you can make 1,000, you can make 10,000. It is doable. The next item that I have is a program called How to Sell Thousands from Any Platform. Teleseminars, webinars, the live platform. The last event I did, we made $100,000 at the event. So you're going from your first 100 to 100,000, and the book is a nice complement to both of those programs. Then you also get a seat into a live teleseminar where I teach you the truth about making money on the internet, and you get to ask me any question about building your business that you want to. The teleseminar content will go for about an hour. Then I'm going to open up the lines, and I'm going to stick around for as long as people have questions. So this is a rare opportunity where you get to pick my brain and ask me any question you want. And I just added this in. Anybody who gets the book during this special launch will get a link to an application where you complete the application, and you will be eligible to be selected for a full day with me in Eugene, Oregon, a VIP strategy planning day. It's a $7,500 value. People pay that much to come and see me. I'm picking one person, so don't think that everybody gets this bonus, but one person based on how complete your application is will be selected, and I will be selecting people for over-the-phone coaching calls too. So this is a very rare opportunity to be able to come and see me face-to-face. So those are the bonuses, and I know you have the link, Denise, that I'll let you give to people.
Okay, you can pick up the book, and this is a shortened URL, so it's easy to remember. It's denisewakeman.com/power-up. denisewakeman.com/power-up, and that link is on Google Plus, and I'll post it again after this as well with the replay. But I wasn't aware of that last bonus, that somebody's going to be selected to spend a day with Kathleen. I can tell you, I'm going to go out and buy a copy of the book. Now, I did get a gift from Kathleen. She sent me this, and it's, she even signed it somewhere too.
I did.
But
and I'll tell you,
I'm going to.
The book makes a great gift for your
I think
clients.
I'm going to buy another book.
Yes, you should, and fill out that application, because I'd love to see you, Denise. We could hang out anyway. But quite seriously, that strategy planning day is a game changer. Anybody who's gone through that with me will tell you it is a game changer. And the book makes a perfect gift for your clients. I buy gifts for my clients all the time. Get the book for your premier clients, get them for friends, get them for family, because I can assure you this information will definitely change the way you do business.
Well, I agree, and I also buy gifts for my clients, and so this is probably going on the list of something that I send them, and I like to send surprise gifts, that they're not expecting. So that's one of the things that I like to do for my clients. So Kathleen, I want to thank you for spending your precious time with our audience today, my community. I really appreciate it. This has been, I knew the time would go so fast, and I could talk to you for hours about this, but I know that everybody, has other things to do today too. But
thank you.
What I would like to invite you to do is go get the book, Power Up for Profits, and make sure you take advantage of these great bonuses that Kathleen has. These aren't, fluff bonuses. This is the real deal. Kathleen is the real deal. Otherwise, she wouldn't be on here with me. I've known her for a long time. I've watched her business explode over the last few years, and I know that it's real. So you can, I give her, all my thumbs up. If I had more than two, I would give them. So please go check it out. And Kathleen, thank you again for being with me.
I want to thank your community too. I know people's time, that's the most precious commodity that we have, and I really appreciate the time people have taken, and just encourage you to go out and build your businesses, do the work you're here to do, because the people that you attract, Denise, and the people I attract, we know that we have a purpose. And they know they have a purpose. Go out and live your purpose. Don't let time pass by saying someday I'll get around to it. Get out and do it today.
Thank you, Kathleen. So I'm Denise Wakeman, your guide to better visibility on the web. This has been another episode in Adventures in Visibility. If you would like to get notice for future adventures, you can go sign up to be on the notification list at adventuresinvisibility.com, and you will find out about future adventures and also when replays are available. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for joining Kathleen, and we will see you round the web.